Good evening. Consul General Hayden, Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. It is an honor and great pleasure to welcome you this evening to the celebration of TPQ's 15th anniversary. First of all, let me thank Consul General Hayden and the Swedish Consulate for graciously hosting us this evening. Furthermore, it's great to see so many stakeholders and contributors of TPQ here, and I thank you all for coming. Nigar aptly described TPQ's beginnings and the people who have been formative in the journal's development over the past 15 years. And like she said, I'm here to provide some context about where TPQ is now and where I hope it will go in the future. To provide you with some brief background, as a recent grad from Brown University, I joined the TPQ team in the spring of 2014. And the past 3 years have been an incredible learning curve as I transitioned from intern to associate editor, and finally to editor-in-chief, taking over for Nigar in the fall of 2015. Under the mentorship of Nigar, Kemal, Cemile, and our invaluable group of editorial advisors, many of which are here today, I was able to take on the immense responsibility of steering a journal that many have come to acknowledge as a valuable source for Turkey, its region, and its place on the international stage. The respect and reputation TPQ has earned has a lot to do with the multidisciplinary nature of its editorial vision and its ability to straddle the areas of domestic policy, foreign policy, and economics. In doing so, TPQ gives voice to and directly engages with decision makers in government and movers and shakers in the policy, business, and civil society communities. To date, for example, TPQ has featured 15 world leaders and 32 ministers from across the world. Without rehashing the roller coaster that's been Turkish politics over the past 1.5 decades, and especially the last 3 years since I've been in this country, I can say that the job has not been without its many challenges. The shrinking space for the free and open exchange of ideas in Turkey means that the journal finds itself at a critical crossroads in terms of finding new contributors and private sector funding. And it's not just Turkey. There's a global trend of declining tolerance, mounting polarization, the rise of transactional politics, and a revolt against the liberal elite. The liberal international order that existed when TPQ was founded is now deeply frayed, and that presents a collective challenge to us all. However, despite these challenges and the vicissitudes of politics, TPQ has, during its several incarnations, done a remarkable job of prevailing, each time adapting to fit the new state of affairs, but also embodying the same values upon which it was founded. Those values, independence, diversity of opinion, open debate, among others, continue to guide our new TPQ team. That's currently comprised of myself, Cemile Çetin, Erhan Arslan, our new associate editor, and Natalie Versalvel, our assistant editor. Together with this team, TPQ has made several important leaps. Among them, a new cover design for the journal, a blog section featuring shorter analysis on current events, which enables TPQ to stay ahead of the news wave, and a new website design, as well as a robust social media presence. These changes reflect our intention to push the journal forward in terms of editorial content, media outreach, and institutional advancement, all of which are crucial for the journal's sustainability. While there is no doubt that there are certain limitations that come with publishing a quarterly journal in Turkey, TPQ's strength is that we can maneuver the scene, and that there are ingredients for optimism and momentum in this country, and that they can be brought to the fore and capitalized on. In that sense, TPQ is not just a journal. It's also a platform for exchanging ideas, developing synergies, and finding new approaches to policy problems. Looking around the room this evening, I can see that our group here embodies that same spirit and that endurance. And we hope this evening will not just be a moment to celebrate, but also to put our heads together, pull our resources and visions, and work to some prolific ends. Before concluding, I would be remiss not to acknowledge the many people and organizations, institutions that have been very critical for TPQ, that have sustained us for the past 1.5 decades. Firstly, let me thank Kemal, Nigar, Cemile, former staff members, editorial advisors, and our long list of very dedicated volunteers. Thank you for believing in our mission and for sacrificing your valuable time and energy. To our distinguished advisory board members, I'd like to thank you all for being such a support network, and for sending your valuable testimonials about TPQ's 15th anniversary. They're printed here on bookmarks, and we hope to use them in other places as well. And thank you to our domestic private sector sponsors, without which TPQ would certainly not be where it is today. We've survived largely via your support, and so thank you for your contributions. Thank you to NATO's Public Diplomacy Division, which we've enjoyed an 8-year partnership with, and look out for a spring 2017 issue. It will also be supported by NATO. I want to thank Korea Daily News for our long-standing media partnership, and the hardworking journalists there that we're very privileged to call our friends. And thank you to the printing house staff, our designers, our IT personnel, and finally, thank you again to the Swedish consulate for hosting us. Thank you all for listening, and enjoy the evening.